And in the top right of the map, we have, sporting the blue and the Terran pieces, it is none other than Zrqkyvx, or Zrqkyvx. Pretty much all those letters are technically consonants, so I have a hard time pronouncing that. But anyway, in the top left, we have his opponent, sporting the purple and the Zerg pieces here on Habitation Station. It is Anuzarg. So once again, both of these players are hanging out the bronze, silver-ish area of the ladder. And both of these guys have been featured on show matches with other players before. They haven't played each other, and they have both been known for doing some kind of crazy things. So I'm really interested to see what happens here. Now, Zrq is definitely more of the crazy macro guy. He does very strange things on that front, whereas Anuzarg has done some pretty crazy 1-2 base plays from the Zerg side. So, you know, a little bit different flavors of unusual, but we'll see if that comes into play here. Now, they also could just play completely standard games. So, like, I don't want to hype this up too much. You never know. You never know. Nothing too out of the ordinary happening yet. Very early gas. Not necessarily indicative of anything specifically. Pool coming down. Could just be getting this to get some early map control and aggression out of the way. The real important thing is to see whether Anuzarg actually goes for a base quickly on top of this, or if he starts teching up really fast. That will be kind of what we want to keep an eye on. Like I said before, he did once actually go for like this crazy one-base ultra play, which was really fun to watch. He might be doing that again now. I don't know if I like that as much against Terran, but it's an interesting idea if it works out. Now, Zrq has gotten his CV up here. Got a little peek, saw the gas, saw that that's being mined, and now he is basically being escorted from the premises by the drone. I'm just saying, get out of here. Don't want you here. None of that. Back from Terran's base, nothing particularly crazy going on. Grabbing some gas, he's got a barracks up. Marines coming out, so no Reapers for the scout or anything like that. Looks like he's content to just go with the classic Mariner style on that. Grabbing that orbital command, nothing particularly unusual going on there. And did manage to keep that SCV alive on top of everything else, so pretty standard stuff going on here. And his Arg's Overlord has floated in here. He's not going to see anything particularly crazy. He's trying to check to see if there's a fast command center coming down. He's not seeing that. Now, the important thing here is he doesn't want to lose these Overlords right now. He really would rather not be spending his money on that. Also note that he hasn't gone for a natural at all just yet. This is actually very unusual. Nope, there it is. Finally coming down. Unfortunately, he's going to be supply blocked for a bit. Ooh. Now, normally, you guys would be expecting this. Like, kind of the more experienced player knows that he might lose something there, and he'll be on top of that. But unfortunately, Anuzarg didn't quite get those Overlords started for a bit, so he's a little bit supply blocked for a moment. But thankfully, it's not gonna happen for too long. I was gonna say that in these bronze level matches, this can be devastating. Losing one supply structure early on and not noticing for a while can put you behind irreversibly, especially if the person goes for some kind of crazy aggression. That actually looks like both players are staying on top of that at the moment, so much kudos to them on that. Now, maybe a little bit overkill for Anuzarg, actually, now that he's basically at 42 over 21 supply, so yeah, maybe a little too much there, but, you know, better overkill than underkill in that respect, definitely with this game. Anyway, a few Zerglings coming out, nothing particularly fantastic. Jumping up to that lair tech. And it seems that Zrq is jumping from here to kind of like factory barracks play. Does have the tech lab on the factory. I'm not actually certain if he's going to be grabbing anything with that, or like maybe just holding on to that add-on for something else. It actually doesn't look like he has any intention of using it for a bit. Usual upgrades coming out for the Terran. Combat shield, Marines, got a bunker coming out at the front just in case. Start working on that wall off. Now, the important thing to realize about Habitation Station is that this is one of the few maps right now. It may even be the only one. I can't remember if Heavy Rain has this or not, but there is a gold in the center of the map. on either side. There's that lovely symmetry, of course, at play here. Typical feature of most maps. These gold bases come into play in different ways. For the Zerg, it can be very, very good for early game aggression. It becomes a little bit less and less useful over time. Very, very, very good for the Terran if they can take that. Gives them a decent bank of minerals to work with. Allows them to set up, more turrets and get more Marines, more defenses without as much of a cost. So definitely beneficial to both players, though it seems that neither of them are actually going to be going for that right now. Starport coming up. So this is really having the shape of kind of the standard Marine, Marauder, Medevac play. Looks like he's going to back it up with some siege tanks as well. These may just be for defense, or he may actually try to get their numbers out and see if he can push that with the Zerg. Not very typical nowadays. A lot of time people tend to go for just Widow Mines with this bioblade, but it could be that Zrqkyvx is harkening back to more of a Wings of Liberty style with this. Maybe that's what he's most comfortable with. And of course, the Spire of Anuzarg. Now, this structure could mean that he wants to switch into Mutalisk later. It does not necessarily mean that he has to do this now, but it looks like he is positioning himself to go into Mutaplay in this game. Now, these Marines could take a few steps forward and start taking pot shots at this Overlord, but apparently they haven't been paid enough for that, so that's not going to happen. Keeping on top of that supply depots for the most part. Zrq is actually going to be slightly supply blocked for a little bit, but nothing too major. Upgrades. Evolution chambers actually being... Oh, there you go. Zrq stepping forward to poke the Overlords a little bit. Get out of here. Get out of here. Nothing for you to see here. Like little burly guards in front of a bar. Yeah, I'm gonna cause trouble, get out of here. Anyway, got a little move out coming up here. Just gonna snipe this one Overlord. Unfortunately, badly supply blocking Anuzarg, who, unfortunately, even though he did notice it right away, he didn't have any Overlords building at that moment right now. So even though there's this big move out coming across the map, he actually can't build anything to really deal with it yet. Looks like rather than running up to the front, which would be a little bit difficult, there are some spine crawlers for defense right there. Is he actually going to jump up into the main? No. Okay. Unfortunately, he's actually given his opponent enough time here where he may actually be able to get a decent amount of defenses up, and despite being slightly, despite wrong-footing Anuzarg for a moment there, it looks like that's actually not going to matter all that much. 7 Mutalisks about to pop. Terran is moving forward onto the creep now. I wonder if he's actually just here to check for a third and maybe kill some creep. Without the third in place, he probably doesn't really need to attack here. Just kind of keep the Zerg contained. He can't directly engage this army with the Mutalisks right now, but as long as they're in the middle of the map, there's obviously nothing to defend back home. So this can make things a little bit awkward. A little bit awkward for the Terran. So this that little creature just kind of hanging out in the base, standing on one of the supply depots. Hopefully he won't be there when a big Ling run by comes around, or Zrq might be a little bit out of shape about that. Looks like there was nope. Okay, there's actually a Viking poking away at these Overlords at the top here. Unfortunately, this Viking is also going to be poked to death by a bunch of Mutalisks. Mutalisks have now been revealed, and Zrq is hightailing it back to his base with all of his Marines. Can't really blame him for that. Don't really want to be caught without any defenses when that starts showing up at your base. He's also going to grab this, he's going to grab the gold base right in front of the Overlord and be like, hey, stop me. Do something about it. Also, Overlord speed has been researched. Interesting. No Baneling nest as far as I know, so I don't know if he's actually going to really make use of that, or if he's just using that to spread his Overlords around the map easily. And, you can criticize it all you want, but when you're at this level, you end up in situations like this where you can see the Anuzarg basically has 1,000, 1,500 at the moment, and once you realize that, you're like, well, what can I spend it on that I want? And sometimes you just pick random things, and it works out. Plus, on the other hand, it does actually make it so that your Overlords can run away a little bit more easier if they're discovered around the map, and seeing how that has already put Anuzarg in a little trouble here and there, I can't really blame him for that. Now, the scary thing to note, though, is that Zrq has been staying on top of his macro, generally speaking, quite a bit better than Anuzarg has, and he's about 50 supply ahead, which is very, you know, that's not a comfortable place to be. But, you know, Zrq isn't actually really pushing the issue either. It isn't really right up there. Baitling Nest coming out. Zrq is telling me no audio. Not really sure what he's referring to. Maybe no audio in game. Anuzarg is saying that's sad. That would be sad. By the way, those of you who are interested, of course, we have patch 2.1 coming out pretty soon. At least I think it's pretty soon because they actually put out another post today saying something like, so by the way, when this patch comes out, all your old replays, you can't watch them with your buddies, you know, because that's the way it works. And that made everybody like, for some reason, instead of ticking people off, that for the most part made them go, oh, dude, maybe it's coming out soon. Anyway, big move out of Marines toward the front of the base here, and there's actually a number of banelings that are just about to finish. Man, look at that with the stronger color mod. I never get tired of that. I love seeing banelings not look green. That looks so cool. Anyway, here comes the engagement. Banelings are actually running up to the front. There's no splitting this smoking up at all of this army, but unfortunately there's nowhere near enough banelings to actually deal with that. And the Marines push the Nihilists back into the base. They're now engaging on top of the flank colors as well. A little bit of a... Definitely can actually push through that. There's a lot of DPS potential in this army, and he's just killing off those Nihilists one by one. Anuzarg moving forward to try and poke at this army a little bit as it retreats. A little bit dangerous to do that. Lucky he didn't lose any more right there. A lot of Lings coming up behind us, as well as a couple more Mutalisks. I'm actually expecting that this is actually a larva limitation. May have not been entirely on top of the injects or something. He definitely has the money to continue producing units, but he hasn't really been doing that too consistently. And here comes 19 Banelings. As long as these finish in time, should be well equipped to actually deal with this. And for those of you that are curious, we are using GameHeart Lite right now, which means that not only do we have the GameHeart interface installed, but also we have the stronger color mod, as well as the upgrade timer thing that you see in the bottom right occasionally when something important is just about to finish. Stronger color mod makes Banelings look like your actual color rather than just green. Now, this, I believe, only applies to... I don't know if this actually applies to the players off the top of my head. There you go. Clarification from our lovely observer, Zero, letting us know that this is, in fact, ops only. So to them, everything looks normal. To us, everything looks fantastic. As far as I'm concerned, I would love to play with these colors on, to be honest. I admit that a lot of the plans they have... Ooh, losing some more overlords out in the middle of the map. A lot of the plans that they have coming out here for stuff like... they want to actually put the colors on the force fields as well. I think that'll look a little bit goofy, and I'm glad that the players don't see that. But, you know, I think it will be kind of neat. Get to know exactly who had the completely bad force fields. Anyway, great engagement from the Banelings here, actually clearing up a decent chunk of the army. However, you know, somewhat okay splitting means that about half the Marines still remain, and it's a lot of firepower out there, and he actually obliterates all the Mutalisks. Oh, what a disaster. Oh, that's extremely bad for the Zerg right now. Not only losing so much of his defensive force right now, he's actually being engaged in 2 locations. He's going to lose this gold base. I don't think there's any way he can save this. Probably, there actually might not be enough forces down here to actually stop this, though. So with that spine crawler in position, he will save the 3rd. But losing that one base, losing all those Mutalisks is extremely bad, and in fact they're actually gathering really close to the army, taking even more hits. Okay, good. Anuzarg does catch that. Does lose another Mutalisk pointlessly right there. And some Zerglings do run in and try and pick this off. There's actually just not enough of them. And it looks like, yeah, Zrq has a decent macro behind this. There's actually some reinforcements running across the map. Banelings have been discovered immediately, and they are being canceled one by one. I have to actually give them credit for being on top of that. But unfortunately, they're just barely... There probably isn't enough here to defend this at all. No, especially not if the Mutalisks just fight by themselves. Really would have been a good time to actually take it over to the Terran's base and try and make him run back home, but unfortunately that wasn't going to happen. And it looks like these Banelings aren't even going to finish in time to actually get this attack. Oh, okay. A couple of them do come out, but they are obliterated immediately, and now there's really no defenses here at all for Anuzarg's base. Going to lose this 3rd, most likely the rest of the game as well, unless he can pull off some kind of miracle move that I can't see in my head right now, or Zrq just like normal moves up the ramp and doesn't attack anything for a while, or maybe just goes back home and lets him resurrect himself. Even so, it's looking pretty grim here for our purple Zerg at the moment. 2 more command centers coming out for Zrq. This is his usual flair that we tend to see when he starts to get extremely ahead, as he starts expanding and taking every single base across the map. Usually a kind of individual who favors the I'm going to choke you to death Python style rather than I'm going to come up there and bite your head off. You know, he doesn't want to get personal about it, you know what I mean? He wants you to leave. That's kind of what's important to him. Yes, Marines can dance. They totally can dance. I have seen that many a time. I don't know if you actually hear the cheer thing, but that's actually used in a couple maps. Like, I know they use that in Lost Viking. If you go back and see that, at the end, you'll see, like, the Marauder and the Marine and a bunch of random civilians dancing. And I'm like, what? Lost Viking? Yeah, there's that, you know, that thing in the arcade machine in the Wings of Liberty single player. Is it a good game? It's okay. I mean, it's kind of cool that they did something like a curtain shooter in that, like, as a side map. I wouldn't put it on the level of some of the more, like, known games in that, like Toho, but they're pretty cool stuff. Anyway, it looks like Zrq is just running around the map looking for those overlords, trying to put his opponent in the dark. CH tanks are running up to the front here, and unfortunately they're probably going to be donated to the Zerg cause right now, or they're just going to trade extremely efficiently families. Either way, Mutalisk trying to get out of there, trying not to completely die to that. There are a lot of spine crawlers up there, and 1 siege tank survives, so he can actually poke at that occasionally. Widowmine actually present at the front here. He's got that one random drone who's like, oh god, don't scan. Not scanned. I am not here. No one knows that I'm here. Please keep it that way. Oh man, and yeah, Zrq is just continuing to solidify his position. I gotta say, he's been on top of pretty much everything so far, except could be splitting his Marines a little better. Is losing way more to those banelings than he really should be. But and that, you know, honestly, that might be what Anuzarg is actually hoping for here. It's just that his opponent will make a huge mistake in this respect. But yeah, okay, don't want to run forward with your forces too quickly. And unfortunately, the way it's positioned, the banelings are actually very likely to just go off on the tanks first. Mutalisks do run forward. They do pick off 1 tank. They're going to try and pick off the second one, but there's way too many Marines right there. And unfortunately, no, didn't rally them back further enough. Going to lose more Mutalisks for free. But okay, oh. Staying tucked up in the base. Zrq is maxed, and Anuzarg is still below 100 supply. This is usually fatal in pretty much any matchup. When this is going on, when your opponent has almost doubled your own supply, and it's 100 to 200, it's usually pretty deadly. As you can see, there's no mining going on in the main base anymore. A little bit going on in the natural, but most of these drones aren't really contributing anything. Almost at this point, if he's really going to press the issue, he'd almost be a lot of damage from that Widowmine. He'd almost be okay actually just taking him along with this attack. It's going to be the last-ditch hurrah coming from Zerq here pretty soon, and here comes all the banelings running down into the Marine ball. Completely decimates the Marine ball, but you know the thing that's going to be fatal here is the important thing here is not taking out that attack. It's dealing with all of the reinforcements that are going to be following this up. Here comes. Okay, we have a few more Marines actually coming to back this up. We have another ball coming up behind that, and 7 more in production. It looks like the Zrq maybe not 100% on top of this. So Anuzarg does have a little bit of time here. 3 battle cruisers. Okay, yeah, that's what he's going to do. It looks like, as far as Zrq is concerned, that now he has been given the time and the ability to do this. It's time to get fancy. Grab those battle cruisers. Let's be frank here with these Marines. He could probably end the game. And he's going to see this base. Nope. Base was canceled. And he's hiding once again. Now, unfortunately, he's going to pop this guy up, try to plant the base, and if he doesn't do it fast enough, that Widowmine is going to basically kill it immediately. I don't know. Well, see what happens. Hi, Poison Wolf. Good to see you in the chat. This is, Yep, there it goes. Just try to get that base off. Does not happen. And it looks like we've had the mass move out of the base. I actually think, yeah, a lot of those are drones. He's just running out. He wants to see his own eyes. Now is his ending. Yeah, he sees the army. He's losing his queens. He's losing his drones. And there's the image. Oh, this game definitely ended a while ago. Don't worry, guys. It's a pretty standard thing to see in some of these lower level games. Sometimes you just get so sucked into the moment, especially if it goes this long and you're not used to it. You get tired and a little over focused, and even though the game might have ended a while ago, you just can't stop playing. So don't be too hard on